All right, let's dive into something pretty wild. There's this really fascinating and, I gotta say, highly speculative theory out there. It basically connects the entire political future of Venezuela directly to the economic bedrock of the United States. Today, we're going to unpack this thing piece by piece. We're looking at a detailed strategic vision from our source material that claims Venezuela's incredible natural resources, we're talking oil, critical minerals, and gold, could be part of a massive multi-generational plan to completely overhaul the American economy.
I mean, that's a bold question, right? Could one single nation's resources really reshape a superpower's economy? Well, the theory we're exploring today answers that with a resounding yes. And look, this isn't about some simple trade deal or a bit of foreign aid. No. This is a complex, deeply interwoven strategy that's supposedly designed to lock in American economic dominance for decades. And the whole thing, it all pivots on this one incredibly resource-rich nation just south of us.
So the entire theory we're breaking down today really hangs on this one single, speculative event. The idea that President Maduro is somehow removed from power. According to the source material, this one act is the key that unlocks what it calls a quiet, hidden benefit. Now why? Well, because it would potentially clear the way for a brand new partnership between the US and Venezuela, getting rid of sanctions and swinging the doors wide open to the incredible resources we're about to talk about. Our goal in this explainer is to dig into what that massive economic benefit would actually be and how it's all supposed to work.
Before we jump in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. Okay, let's get into the breakdown.
Here's the roadmap for today. We've just covered that core hypothetical premise. Next up, we're going to look at the three big pillars that this whole strategy is built on. First, the absolutely massive oil opportunity. Second, the crucial hunt for mineral independence. And third, this incredibly audacious goal of basically controlling the entire gold market. And then, at the end, we'll pull it all together to see how these pieces supposedly create a complete economic transformation.
All right, part one. We're starting with Venezuela's most famous and, let's be honest, most valuable asset, oil. But the strategy we're looking at here isn't just about drilling more oil or finding a new supplier. It's much, much bigger than that. It's a calculated plan to fundamentally shift the entire balance of power in the global energy market. To really wrap your head around the scale we're talking about here, you have to start with just one number: 303 billion. That's the estimated number of barrels of proven crude oil reserves sitting inside Venezuela. Let that sink in. It is by a huge margin the single largest oil reserve on the entire planet. This isn't just some stat on a spreadsheet, you guys. This staggering number is the absolute foundation of the first and maybe most powerful piece of this entire theory.
Now, let's put that number in perspective, because it's kind of mind-blowing. At 303 billion barrels, Venezuela's reserves are a full 15% larger than Saudi Arabia's. And Saudi Arabia is the country everyone thinks of when they think of oil. It absolutely dwarfs other big players like Canada or Iran. So this one fact forces you to think about Venezuela differently, not just as a major oil producer, but as the central bank of crude oil for the whole world. And that simple geographic fact is absolutely critical for the rest of this strategy.
This quote really gets to the heart of the strategic shift in this theory. The goal isn't for the US to become the world's biggest driller. The real power, the real money, is somewhere else. The objective is to control the most valuable part of the whole chain, the final refined product. It's a total shift in thinking, away from the dirty work of extraction and towards the high-tech, high-value world of production, turning raw materials into things nobody can live with.
So how would this actually play out? Well, the theory is based on this fascinating, almost perfect symbiotic relationship. You see, Venezuela is sitting on an ocean of a specific kind of heavy, sour crude oil, but because of years of neglect, it has almost zero modern infrastructure to actually drill or refine it. Meanwhile, the United States has the world's largest and most advanced oil refining capacity. And here's the kicker. A lot of those refineries, especially along the Gulf Coast, were actually built specifically to process that exact type of Venezuelan heavy crude. It's like the two economies were literally made for each other.
Think about it. If the US could source all that crude from a newly friendly Venezuela and refine it right here at home, it wouldn't just be about energy independence. It would position the US to become the main producer of the world's most critical stuff: gasoline, diesel, jet fuel. And when you control the final product, you control everything that matters: the price, who gets it, and how much of the market you own. It is quite simply a strategy to completely reassert dominance in the global energy game. Okay, on to the second pillar of this grand strategy:
We're moving beyond energy now and into the very stuff that builds our modern world and, our national defense. We're talking about critical minerals. And more specifically, we're talking about this reddish, clay-like rock called bauxite.
So for those of you who might not know, bauxite is the essential raw material for aluminum. That's it. Every aluminum can, every roll of foil, and this is the really critical part, the super strong, lightweight aluminum that's used in advanced military gear like stealth jets and Navy ships, it all starts as bauxite. It's an absolutely foundational ingredient for any modern economy and its military.
And here is the big problem this strategy is designed to solve. The United States has basically no domestic reserves of bauxite. None. So what does that mean? It means the vast majority of America's aluminum supply chain starts somewhere else. The U.S. has become really dependent on foreign bauxite that's mostly processed and refined in China, and that creates a massive risk.
This dependency creates a huge strategic vulnerability. It means the entire U.S. economy, from soda cans to the military-industrial complex, is wide open to supply chain problems, price manipulation, and even the threat of another country using export controls as a weapon. In the view of our source material, this isn't just some economic headache, it's presented as a critical, totally unacceptable national security risk. And here we go again. The theory points to Venezuela as the perfect solution. The source claims Venezuela has the largest and mostly untouched bauxite reserves in the entire Western Hemisphere. By developing these reserves, the U.S. could build a whole new supply chain and achieve total mineral independence from China. And get this, the very same infrastructure, the giant tanker ships, the deep-water ports that would be used to move Venezuelan oil could also be used to move Venezuelan bauxite. That creates an incredibly efficient and secure supply line for two of the world's most critical resources. Before we continue to the final and most transformational asset, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide.
Now for the third and final pillar, gold. This is where the theory gets really ambitious. We're moving beyond industry and energy and into the realm of long-term national wealth and the very nature of money itself. You could say this is the capstone of the entire strategy.
The foundational claim here is just huge. The source material says that Venezuela holds the largest known gold deposits in all of Latin America. Now, if that's true, it would mean that in the Western Hemisphere, the two great stockpiles of gold are in the United States and Venezuela. Gaining influence over both would give a level of control over the global gold market that's just unprecedented, almost unchallengeable. Now, to really get why this is so important, we have to understand the basic difference between currency and gold, at least as the source presents it. Currency, like the dollar, is a tool. It's flexible. It's designed to inflate and deflate so central banks can steer the economy. But gold isn't a tool for correction. It's a tool for preservation. It's a finite physical thing. You can't just print more of it. It's a hedge against the very inflation that currency is built to handle. Gold is meant to protect and store wealth, not just for a few months, but for generations.
So that leads us to the big question for this section. If the real goal is preserving a nation's wealth for the long haul, how exactly does getting access to Venezuela's massive gold deposits do that for the U.S.? As the theory lays out, it's not as simple as just digging it all up and selling it. The strategy is way more subtle and way more powerful.
The strategy they outline has three parts. First, by controlling the two biggest gold deposits in the hemisphere, the U.S. could create a powerful defense against any rivals trying to manipulate the market. Second, and this is the absolute genius of the plan, the goal is not to flood the market with gold. That would crash the price. Instead, the plan is to mine just enough to keep the price high and maybe even nudge it higher. And finally, these enormous, untapped reserves would act like a giant savings account on the national balance sheet, letting the U.S. boost its own wealth whenever it needed to.
This quote from the source just sums it up perfectly. The core idea is managed scarcity. By basically taking a huge chunk of the world's potential gold supply and just putting it on the shelf, keeping it out of the market, the value of all the gold that already exists, including the thousands of tons the U.S. already has, would theoretically keep going up. You get richer not by selling your assets, but by controlling the global supply. The source then takes this national strategy and applies it to personal finance, saying that you and I can basically do the same thing on a smaller scale. The argument goes that while you might use risky assets to make big money fast, gold is the ultimate tool for preserving that wealth long term. It's your personal hedge against the inflation that eats away at the value of your cash, just like it is for a nation. So, we've looked at the three pillars one by one: controlling the refined oil market, getting mineral independence with bauxite, and managing the global gold market to grow national wealth.
Now, let's pull it all together and see what the combined impact of this truly massive strategy is claimed to be.
Let's just summarize the whole vision. The oil strategy, it's all about controlling the global refining market, which would lead directly to lower, more stable gas and energy prices for all of us here at home. The bauxite strategy, that's about achieving total mineral independence from our rivals, which means a huge boost in national security. And the gold strategy is about controlling the market to preserve wealth, which results in a stronger US dollar and a powerful defense against inflation for the whole country.
So you might be thinking, why should I care about all this complex geopolitical stuff? Well, the source material is very clear on the supposed benefits for the average person. Controlling oil means lower prices at the pump and cheaper heating bills. A stronger dollar means your money buys more stuff and it fights inflation. A booming energy sector would probably be great for your investments. This isn't just some abstract idea. It's presented as a full-on plan to improve the financial life of every single citizen.
At the end of the day, this isn't framed as some short-term fix or a quick economic boost. The vision here is a long-term, multi-generational project. It's all about using Venezuela's unique and incredible geological wealth, its oil, its minerals, its gold, to build a brand new, stronger, and more secure foundation for the American economy that will last for decades, something that benefits not just us, but our kids and their kids too.
And so, that's the question we're left with. Is the theory we've just unpacked a plausible, even if it's extraordinarily ambitious, economic master plan, a way to secure a nation's future for 100 years? Or is it a geopolitical fantasy, a cool idea that just relies on too many what-ifs and variables to ever be realistic? The source makes a compelling case, for sure, but ultimately, the answer to that question is up to you.
As we conclude, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And check out the links in the description if you're looking for a real estate agent in your market or you need life insurance. My team and I can help you anywhere nationwide. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you in the next explainer.